Hi Capricorn, this is your general tarot reading for Capricorn Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Rising sign for the month of August. So Capricorn, let's shuffle the cards and wait on the right ones as the first one comes out, the Empress. Very nice. And in the meantime, we'll talk about the things that are happening for you through the month that you might feel. Let's begin with the big lunar eclipse that's going to be affecting the month of August. It happened at the end of July, and it happened for you in your second house, which is the house to do with money, security, finances. Now look at this, the first two cards that came out, the Empress and the Emperor. Okay, so it's an interesting start to the card. Something tells me this is going to be very interesting for you this month. I think so. You have felt the effect of the lunar eclipse, and you have closed what it seems to be a big door on your fears and worries about money. Maybe you had spent a lot of time being overly concerned with these matters, wondering where money is coming from, being a bit stressed, or just simply putting way too much of your energy into having some sort of financial status, maybe putting a lot of effort into bringing more money in, just something that you're doing. Do you know what it feels like, Capricorn? It feels like you had become a little bit overwhelmed by issues to do with your money. And maybe you put a lot of your self-worth and your self-value into material things. Yeah. Maybe having the right car, or having enough money, or having the right position, or having certain things that you own became a bit of a substitute for having real intrinsic core value and core belief in yourself. And that's going to change. You know how many months we've spoken about you have changed, and you certainly have. And you've opened yourself up to start again, to start new, to start fresh. Okay, I understand that for some of you, that was thrust upon you over the last few months, that you had to start again, that you had no choice but to go alone, to completely revise who you are, change your identity entirely. I get that. But what comes now, while you're getting your power back, comes a wonderful moment in August where you now add value to it. That it's not the value of money or things or objects that give you your self-worth and self-esteem, but your core value, what you bring, you know, the value that you bring to relationships, the value that you bring to your office life, the value that you bring to everything you do in your life, to your family, friends. This is a moment where you get to share how valuable you are to them. And this might come because the Sun and Mercury retrograding are in the 8th house. The 8th house is all about big transformations, serious transformations. It's like the house of death and rebirth. And don't fear that. When you hear the words death and rebirth, it's not a scary thing. In fact, it's a wonderful journey of self-discovery that you're going on this month, Capricorn. And space has been made for this to happen. You know, around the 13th of August, Mars retrograde enters your first house. It goes into Capricorn. So Mars is pulling back some of its energy a little bit to let space in for this transformation. So it's asking you to redirect all of your energy now this month into this process. You have value. And you know, this might come as a bit of a conflict or a crisis, an inner crisis for you, that you might suddenly feel so overwhelmed, as I said, about financial issues, that you might arrive at a point where you say, well, which is more important? Is it more important that I'm happy? Is it more important that I'm living an authentic life with my values, with my beliefs, doing things that make me happy, things that I do from the heart that might bring in money, versus get a good job, settle down, you know, bring money in? You're just valuing which is worth more? And there could be that little script that goes round and round and round in your mind saying, I can't leave this job, I hate it, but I need the money. Or I can't start a new project because it will take too much time away from my boring ass job that I depend on the money, I depend on the security. And the conflict comes when you have that realization that you may be sacrificing a lot of yourself, a lot of your personality, and a lot of your energy into chasing outward status symbols or chasing security. And I don't want you to do that anymore. And certainly the energies here are saying the same. You deserve to let go of those old obsessions and hang-ups about how you're not good enough, how you're not meeting the mark, how you can't be truly yourself and do the things that you want to do because I need to stay in this position, I need to stay here, I need to be stuck here because it offers security. It's a tough one. It's not necessarily an easy one, but it's a very powerful one, and it's one you should embrace. Because if it is, showing itself as a bit of an inner crisis, know what crisis is. Crisis comes when we have conflicting events happening, or when we have conflicting beliefs or conflicting feelings about something. That on one hand you want security, on the other hand you want to get out there and be more open and express yourself. And as Venus there at the start of the month is trying to get you to do, she's trying to get you to expand your life, to open it up, to be open to new experiences, maybe to be open with foreign cultures and foreign people. Fall in love, for those of you who are looking for love, fall in love with somebody who is just not your usual person, somebody who can teach you a lot about this world. Yeah. Somebody who can just open those doors of perception for you. You might be highly attracted to somebody like that this month, but certainly you'll know that's where pleasure is this month. Some of you really could say, come on, it's time, I need to go off on a long holiday, I need to go on a long adventure. The adventure could be studying, or it could literally just be going to somewhere far away. There's wisdom in it, there's beauty and truth in it. And maybe there's money in it. Money could come from a foreign source this month. You could be assisted or helped in some way by people who live far away or are not people who have the same belief system as you, or maybe have a different education to you. It's an eye-opening moment for you. They might teach you how to make some money too, so that's nice. Now, the 8th house there might be offering you an opportunity this month to really deal, again, we touched on this last month, Capricorn, to deal with some tax issues, financial issues, the buying and selling of property too, handling money for somebody else. I saw this with the Capricorn at the end of July, where they had been asked by a family member to step in and to help, not help them financially, but help them sort out their finances. Help them, they were trying to sell a property, and they were asked to come in, and they were wonderful. They went in and saved the day. And it continues for the beginning of the month, where you might be asked to go in and put your little financial superhero's cape on and help somebody come to grips with a money situation that they can't cope with. But yeah, certainly taxes, banks, anywhere where there's an official body handling money, even if it's just a PayPal account or something, that you are really dealing with that this month. So it's just all about getting a new life on your finances, getting a new handle on your money, and for some of you, transforming your money entirely. Investments, 8th house is investments. You could be putting a little bit of money, it doesn't have to be a huge amount of money, Capricorn, a little amount of money away so that you see it blossom and grow in the future. And it doesn't have to be the kind of money that stings you, that makes you uncomfortable every month. You know, it's just a little bit extra goes a long way. So that's something worth looking into this month. Now, 8th house is very intense, and we do have the partial solar eclipse, the new moon in Leo on the 11th of August in the 8th house. This is the energy all this month of intimacy, intensity, digging deep. Again, a little bit we spoke about it last month. You see, the energies don't change from month to month like clockwork. They bleed in and they bleed out a little bit. So the energies from last month, you're still just finishing those off. So there is a renewal of passion to change your life. A renewal of, it's almost like this primal feeling, Capricorn, of I need to transform, I need to break through, I need to tear down the stagnant things in my life. I've come to an impasse, I've come to a dead end in my relationships, in my work, with my family, with my life in general, where it's going. It's at a deadlock, a dead end, as I said. And you know it requires a bit of thinking outside the box too, being a bit creative to knock all that old structure down so you can start again, my love. Start again. Now the intimacy for some of you, those in a relationship or those looking for a relationship, the transformation could really kick off by being very intimate with your partner or finding a new love who really inspires you and allows you to transform this energy through a sexual experience. For some of you too, even if it's not physical, it could be where you meet somebody highly magnetic, somebody very powerful. They have this inner power. And what they do is they seem to remind you that you also have it. See, as you're looking for your self-value and self-worth, and you have a conflicting moment of, I don't have self-value or self-worth, I don't take care of my body. You know that saying, the people sometimes punish their body for the sins in their soul, and you're saying, what have I done to my body? I've neglected it a little bit. And somebody, it seems, will come along maybe at the new moon and reignite you, baby. Relight your fire. It'll be a bit like that. But as I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sexual thing. It's just somebody with this high magnetism. Somebody that is capable of talking to you in a very deep way. Somebody who is capable of talking about taboo subjects. That you'll find yourself opening up and talking about very, very, not just private things, but things that you're even afraid to go there usually. And to expose that and to reveal it, let it out and let it be transformed. Some of you could still be carrying the energy over from last month, which is about digging deep. Sure, you're digging deep within yourself to reclaim your inner fire, but you're digging deep into maybe some financial matters, getting all the paperwork out and digging right through it to see how you can improve your financial situation. Digging through contracts, digging through bills, digging through everything to get it in order. So you'll be a bit like a private eye again this month. But it's that wonderful energy of transformation. You are rising, rising, rising. Because there was that period, excuse me, there was that period where you felt everything was a bit dead. Everything was a bit one-dimensional, a bit stagnant, a bit samey. And that changes this month. And like I said, it requires a bit of effort from your part and a bit of creativity, a bit of, it's almost like going back and remembering your fire. Remember your fire. Yeah. Remember the crazy things that you do. Remember the rebellious things that you do. Remember that you can change it up anytime you want, and it doesn't necessarily challenge the security that you feel. And I don't know why I'm getting this. It's almost like if you're the type of person, Capricorn, who, if I were to open your wardrobe, there'd be the same clothes. I mean, I can't say anything because I always wear black, but there will be the same style of clothes, maybe in slightly different colours or slightly different variations, but they're the same. I'm challenging you. Go open your wardrobe and you might notice it. You mightn't have seen that before, that your clothes are a repeat pattern of the same style. And it's that sameness. You'll say, I never noticed that before, that I do same old things. Even the clothes I wear, even the things I do on the weekend, even the type of books I read, the type of holiday I go on, the type of TV shows I watch. I never change. It's the same all the time. And this moment, the challenge is for you to take all of that out and to shake it up. Shake it all up. Change, change, change. And you might say, well, what the hell does that do to a person? So what if I take the clothes I have, mix them, turn them around and do them another way? What's that going to do? It's going to remind you that you have the passion and ability to do such things. You see, sometimes doing little external exercises like this feed the new perceptions that are entering. And that, like I said, the new perceptions for you are to expand your horizons, open up your life so that it can transform. So my challenge to you, Capricorn, is if you do the same thing every weekend, change it. And if you say, I can't change that, I have a responsibility, call somebody, take a day off and do something totally different. Get somebody else in temporarily to, fill your place there for a moment. If you go to the same bar, if you go to the same restaurant, go to a different one that you've never been to before. If you watch the same TV shows, or if you're on YouTube and you watch the same tarot reader, okay, maybe don't change that. I don't mind. But you have to do what you want to do. It's about changing that. Just change everything. Allow this transformation to happen. Because, when we get stuck and have these crisis moments, they're great opportunities for us, Capricorn, to show us the difference between who we thought we were against who we really are. You might be surprised what you learn about yourself this month and learn about others. Let's not forget that. 8th house is other people's money, other people's resources, the things that other people give you, a supply, an external supply of something. And you might see something good happening there. Maybe it's something that you're doing this month. You're changing in some way that benefits other people. May benefit your relationship, or those who are in a very long-term relationship. Changing small things like this and shaking it up might benefit your sexual relationship. Yeah. And you won't maybe have realized that you need to change things up there. Yeah. It's worth exploring anyway. You can always go back if it doesn't work. So that's that. There's so many other things too. Venus in your 10th house. For those of you who are really pushing ahead in your career, this is a great time. Some of you around the 7th, 8th of August could see something nice happen financially for you. It may be just, for some of you it could be a raise. For some of you, though, I think the majority of you, it's more like a clap on the back. It's more like well done. It's more like you get a little bit of a self-esteem boost around that time. The same thing. Let's see, what else? Good communication in the work life really pays off. And the transformation that you're happening will be brought to the workplace, and that will pay off. And I know not everybody here works. I know some of you are retired, or some of you are unemployed. There is always somewhere where you stand out and other people see you. We say in the career, but it's where you are doing your thing, where you're applauded, where you're respected, where you have a good reputation, where where other people just admire your whatever beautiful Capricorn thing that you do. So it's a good energies going on there too. Around the 19th of August, there's also a wonderful thing for those of you who do sales via the internet. If you want to speak on a big platform in front of people or in front of friends or on the internet or do something, maybe public speaking, and you're like, I have to do public speaking, oh my God, the panic. It'll go very, very well for you. Whatever project you have, that you are communicating this new truth, these new desires from a genuine and sincere place where you have real face value because you believe in your value. It will go smoothly, yeah. The more you believe that you have value, the more people will give that value back to you. See, people do that, they really do. So yeah, it's all about your face value now, Capricorn. And what's that old thing, you know, smile. Don't forget to smile, because smile immediately adds face value. So now we're waiting on this last card, 21 minutes and still no card showing. If it doesn't come, I'll have to choose it. Okay, I'll choose it. So your last card is, whoops, it's jumping. I think that's the energy you'll feel. You'll be jumping to the 9 of Pentacles, gorgeous card to end there with. So Capricorn, hopefully now you are seeing this big overview. Let's begin with the cards. And look what we begin with, Capricorn. We begin with this gorgeous combination. Every empire needs an Empress and an Emperor. The wonderful balance of Venus and Mars. And there are wonderful things happening for you. 7th, 8th August, where Venus really sits well with Mars. You could find yourself being invited to work parties, work events, or standing out somewhere in the public where you are, you know, seen and applauded. Some really nice energy is going to be in there where you feel your self-esteem grow. Major applause, major pat on the back around the 7th, 8th of August. But we'll go with the traditional meanings now. So the Empress is all about something bearing fruit, something being a success, something that you've put a lot of time, energy and effort into, and you stand up and you're very good at whatever this thing is that you do. Maybe it's a creative project, maybe it is just something within your career, perhaps, for those who do work, where you're standing up and you're holding your own and you're respected. And this could be the card of the boss standing beside you. Some key figure or some person that you look up to or have a great amount of admiration for will really admire what you're at this month. It's a wonderful, wonderful time to get that recognition, Capricorn, this month. Now, this is also the card of, it's Venus in Taurus or Venus in Libra, where you enter the month very sensual, very sexual, like the Empress. Venus, very, very in touch with all things deep and intimate about yourself. And you'll be attracting all the right people. For those of you looking for love, you could attract a very, very powerful person. I did say you will be attracting, for those looking for love, you'll be attracting a very magnetic person, somebody who has a lot of status, somebody who is in control, and you are attracting them. And for everybody else, you are the embodiment of Venus. You're attracting the magnetism of Mars, sexual energy, power, force. It's all about that. It's highly, highly charged this month for you. This could be a great meeting between you and another person where the transformation comes, like I said, through this magnetic connection that you have with another person, a life-changing connection with somebody. It's almost like somebody has these qualities in them. They have the qualities in them that you greatly admire, and you will really be nourished from that. You will really get a lot from that. Now, in terms of star signs, Libra. Taurus, Aries, possibly to some extent to Scorpio. And they could really open up the month for you and really make you feel that, I don't know, it's just magnetic sparks. Magnetism. That's what it is between you and other people. Magnetism, raw magnetism. And you'll grow through this. And yet, here we have this card. Perhaps meeting this very magnetic person, they might inspire you, Capricorn, to completely change everything up. They'll say, you're better than this, you're worth more than this, you should be paid more than this, you should be in a better position than this, your life should be different to this. You're worth more. You need to get unstuck and move. And you're ignited by this magnetized inspiration, and you do it. You do, Capricorn, you do it. And you know that great healing will come once you open up your world and broaden your horizons in this way. You know it. Capricorn, I know traditionally we say that you like things to be in boxes. Stay as they are, stay once I have. And it's not because you're a stick in the mud. It's because you recognize the value of having a structure in place. It's because that you're very responsible. This is this world. We have to be able to hold our ground. There's value in this ground. Hold it, have power in it. And then I can have pleasure. Then I can have joy. So you really rule over that. You know the value of having security. Security means power. Yet at the same time, I've said this to you maybe last month or the month before, you're also now slowly, it's a long-term thing, you're recognizing that you have to expand on that power. And that can often mean changing everything up, moving home, moving away from one old love, or the memory of an old love, or the karmic bond that you had with an old love, moving away from that, being drawn by this new magnetic person and following them, following their healing. And some of you really could be so magnetized that you just take up sticks, you just take everything up, follow this charismatic person because you're a little bit obsessed with them and because you're a little bit in love with them. And I wouldn't blame you, Capricorn. I really wouldn't blame you. Where that magnetism is, where that spark is, trust your primal instinct. If it's following, if it's leading you somewhere, follow it. Follow it. Now, when you follow that, and when you are cleansed and healed and completely rejuvenated, you arrive at this, the Cancerian card, your opposite sign, Cancer. So it could be love with a Cancer, but I mean, there are so many influences here: Libra, Taurus, Aries, Scorpio, and now Cancer, and then later Gemini. So there's just an element, perhaps you're looking over some of those characters that I just mentioned, and there's an element of you leaving some of those behind and being more inspired by newer, fresher energies. Cancer is all about engaging, for you, engaging in matters of love, in matters of partnership, even business partnerships. Some of you could be swept away by a charismatic business person and you follow them because you like where they're going, and do. But in terms of love, when you follow this primal magnetism, you are handed the card of victory and success within a relationship. Cancerians are very in touch with their feelings. They're very in touch with their soul. They know what works in them. They're private people, sure. They are private, but for the most part, they're very sure of how they feel about things. And this month, this is another big lesson, to be sure of how you feel about everything in your life. And when you arrive at that point, it's a great success. Now, there is something you're doing definitely in your life that is bringing you great success. I'm trying to pinpoint it. I know it could be in your career or something creative you're doing that you're putting out there, but success is coming. This is the card of like a shooting star across the sky. And this card is the Six of Cups, all about inner beauty, all about inner innocence, all about going back to a time that you remember when things were easier, where things were lighter, things were pure, and where you shone. Yeah, where you were shining. And you have, Cancer is all to do with memories, looking back, the same as this card. It's a real period this month of looking back, cleaning out a lot of karmic relationships perhaps that now need to go, and attitudes that need to go, because victory comes in relationships when you really sever ties with the past. Yeah. Now what happens later, say mid-month, towards mid to end month, you could come up with a bit of a conflict. First conflict that could happen is around the 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, where you get into a little bit of conflict, maybe with somebody challenging something you're doing in work or in your career. Somebody saying, that's not you. Don't run away and follow this magnetic person to a new career because it's not you, it's not who you are, it's not what you do. And you're challenging this. You're saying, no, before, maybe I wouldn't follow a charismatic person, or wouldn't go to this new interesting work sphere, or I wouldn't change my life. Maybe before, but not now. So somebody might come, and even yourself, it might even just be you, Capricorn, who's challenging this thought. You know, am I somebody who just changes everything up? No, I'm not. I've never done it before. It'll fail, it'll definitely fail. So there's a bit of inner conflict here. Yeah, and certainly that could be reflected outside. Conflict. Some competition maybe too in work. Somebody maybe trying to compete with you, but you're fine. You'll be fine with this. Now I'm stopping here. Why? There could be some conflict. Conflict when it comes to what it is you desire to do. Yeah, it's really that. It's conflict against what it is you desire to do, what it is you truthfully want to bring into your life, in conflict with you feeling that it's going to fail even before you try. So don't let that happen. Stay positive, my love. Now, some of you could be in conflict with a Gemini, and maybe showing a bit of that primal rage towards them. Somebody, if it's not a Gemini, it could be somebody who is very good at talking, somebody who's very good at communicating, but somebody who doesn't always have substance to back it up. So there could be an element here of you going head to head with somebody maybe who's competing with you, who is more talk than substance, basically. And you're going to challenge that. You're not going to allow them get away with that. This card, excuse me, sometimes represents the energy of things being taken apart. So yeah, you could be in a bit of inner conflict about how you feel your life is being taken apart bit by bit at the moment. But there could be an energy here too of you finally fighting back, Capricorn, against people who have been taking you apart bit by bit. Things that you're doing in your life, somebody criticizing it, judging it, or saying, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why can't you? And you're saying, oh my God, they're just killing my vibe. They're killing the flow. They keep questioning me. They keep wanting to know, or keep mocking me. Mocking you. Somebody mocking you. Sometimes the energy here can be quite cruel. It can be quite illogical. Is somebody confusing you too with words, or has been? Saying one thing but meaning another. You know that energy of somebody who says, I could say to you, Capricorn, you look beautiful. And that's, you say, oh, thank you very much. At least I hope you'd say that. I hope you wouldn't say, oh no, I look terrible. Don't do that. This is not the time now for that. But then there are other people that might say, yeah, you look beautiful. The words are right, but the sentiment and the feeling are wrong. And you're alert, 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 alert. Words don't match the feeling. Here we have feelings, feelings, feelings. Getting in touch with your feelings, suddenly realizing that somebody's words don't match their feelings. You're going to have it out with them. You're going to say, what did you mean by that? But stop. When you say that, what do you mean? When you give me a compliment, is there any shade in that? Tell me, say it out. And they won't expect this from you. You see, there's an element of the unexpected with you here this month. You're like the dark horse this month. Seems a lot of people had you pegged to be a certain way. We can always depend on Capricorn to respond this way. We can kind of walk over them a little bit. We can, sure, Capricorn has power. Capricorn is a figure, you like being a figure of excellence and authority, but there's always somebody that likes to challenge that. And because you like to keep your dignity and move ahead in your life and with things that you're doing, you kind of say, let it go, ignore them, ignore them. And they know it. They know you'll say, oh, Capricorn won't fight back. But the dark horse Capricorn this month does fight back. And you're going to surprise them. And when you fight back, wow, they'll have to take 100 steps back. Because the shoe will be on the other foot. Because they won't be expecting it from you, there could be a moment where they're left standing looking like a fool because you said, why are you doing that? Stop everything. Hold on, everybody stop. Why do you behave this way? Why do you say things like that to me? Is there something wrong? Or you could be very, you could go very deep with that, as the 8th house would suggest. You could get all weird and psychological and say, is there something wrong with you? Have you got problems? Yeah, and maybe they do. I won't go down that road because that could get a bit nasty, and I hope you don't go down that road either, Capricorn, because there is a moment here where somebody who thinks that they can get away with bloody murder, suddenly you turn around and expose them in some way, and you might leave them very, 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 very shook. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. Just don't hurt them, please. You don't need to hurt anybody, but you can certainly show them bare your claws and show them your fangs. Now, gorgeous cards, Capricorn, towards the end of the month. You recognize 8th house. 8 is where you see the self-imposed prisons that you've put yourself in, where you've been sabotaging your own life, where you've been allowed to stay stuck, where you have allowed that to happen. And once you face this and see it for what it is and do the work to rid yourself of all of those barriers, you get this card, which means that you finish something, finish an unhappy period, finish a period of emotional turmoil where there was all this inner crisis bubbling. You finish it. You found the way through. One by one, you've picked each one of those swords out, and you've used the last sword to untangle yourself from a bind that you found yourself in, and to take off the mask, and to see that really, now that you're free, your world is open up to you. These people are celebrating. They're saying, look out there, look up to the sky, look further, look out. Really, your eyes have been closed and blinded to so many things. Truth has come. And now when you look out, you say, I can have it all. These cups are filled with joy. They're filled with optimism. They're filled with hope. They're filled with release. They're filled with forgiveness. They're filled with sharing. They're filled with happy memories. They're filled with success. They're filled with love. They're filled with magnetism. They're filled with that whole sense of being reawakened. When you moved and took the chance, the first cup from the universe that was handed, see, the hand of God came out, and with all the work that you do between the start of August and the end of August, you've ended up with 10 cups. I believe in you this month, Capricorn, as I always do. But we'll keep that a secret. But I really believe in you this month. I really do. When I see this, the power is back. Your power is back to build the happy ever after life that you really want. Because it only ever is what we put our energy into that is transformed into our life. If you focus too much on the past or focus too much on building a nest full of status symbols and security symbols or whatever, they're just things, they're empty, they're not filled with anything substantial. Without the substance, without the soul, these cups are just chunks of gold or brass. That's all. But now they're full of your self-value, full of your self-worth, full of the desires that come from your heart. And you're going to... I love this. You were handed the cup of healing. You healed, you transformed, and you are so fulfilled by the end of this month, deep inside yourself, that you decide to take that happiness out into the world and attract positive people into your life. For those of you really now spending too much time alone outside of a relationship, it's time to attract this magnetic person into your life, and you will. If you go with this, if you sit at home and ignore everything, it won't happen. But if you play the game, if you get out there and follow this energy, you won't be lonely for very, very long. And for those in a relationship, I said to you at the start of the video, change things up with your intimacy. Do something totally different together. Something that's a bit romantic, something that's just not something you've ever done before. And talk over a glass of wine or a glass of whatever you like, and talk and say, how are we doing? Are you happy here? Or what can we do to bring the happiness back? What can we do to flow better again with each other? And look at them. For those of you in a relationship, it seems that you still do have love there. You really do have love. Talk to them. Raise that cup of love again. Bring feeling back and exchange your feelings with each other. Exchange like a honeymoon. Exchange how much you're passionate for each other. Exchange how much you mean to each other. And when you do that, you are just, your life just blossoms. He's independent. He is, look, he's surrounded with gold. He is gold. He's in a beautiful garden. It's the garden of delight, the garden of paradise, the place where he feels is a little corner of heaven. And he is there walking through it, being in it, and feeling like, wow, this is exactly where I should have always been. I shouldn't have been. And he's looking over his shoulder. He's looking at a little birdie, but he's also looking over saying, that's where I have been. And now when I step into my little paradise where I'm filled with the desires of my heart, the coin is mounting up. In practical terms for you too, there is something when you give more energy and effort and passion and magnetism and drive to everything you're doing, whatever it is, love, career, family situations, you find yourself at the end of the month realizing where your little corner of paradise is and expanding upon it. Nines can often represent the moment where you realize you've matured and grown and where you've come through the worst of something. In terms of your finances, whatever situation it's been, you've come through the worst of it, my love. in terms of your inner development. You've come through the dark night of the soul, and now you've come to the other side, which was the paradise that was promised to you when you first saw the cup being offered as a source of light to you. That's profound, Capricorn. It's profound. And this is a month where everything is a little bit profound for you. In terms of everything that's... Oh, a long video, Capricorn, I'm so sorry. In terms of everything that you're doing in life, let it be touched with passion. And it will all come to a success. Let it come from you, not anybody else, from you. And you win. I must leave it at that there now, Capricorn. I'm so sorry it's taken so long. But you know how it goes. I don't come here to make quick videos and say blah, blah, blah. I come here to speak to you. So we just had a long conversation this month. So if, I'll leave it at that. If this is the first time seeing my videos, then please do subscribe and like and share. Join me on Facebook, She Bear Tarot, and Twitter and Instagram too. And come back next month, of course, to see where all of this is going and to see where this magnetic little vibe brings you. And between now and then, know that I'm really rooting for you and that I really wish you the best with all these energies. And as always, I love you, Capricorn. And until next month, a big kiss. Mwah. Love you, Capricorn.